Greeting interwebs, this is Jackie K, and I've been recording Pokemon XG Next Gen for about 2 hours now, and have nothing to show for the entire recording session, so I figure I at least get something out of the time I've put into this by recording some reactions to Purifying Shadow Pokemon. I don't know if it's really worthwhile, but it's led to some fun interactions or at the very least reactions in the past, so I wanted to at least record it with live commentary in case something exciting happens. Like, that seems like a pretty cool moveset for an Alakazam. I forgot what non-shadow moves it has, but that seemed like a suspiciously small amount of non-shadow moves for a late game shadow Pokemon. Let's see what else is in store. Like, I just had my butt handed to me in Mount Battle for 3 minutes straight. It sucks because the last week was pretty much just finishing up catching the legendary Pokemon and doing the first half of Mount Battle, so this recording session I was all set and ready to complete the other half of Mount Battle, but man, do they throw some brutal stuff at the very end. You'll see for yourself when the time comes, assuming I haven't done anything and made a video out of the outtakes before you see the final attempt. But man, it's a mess, and that's all I'm gonna say about it. I didn't get a chance to point out a belly drum on Snorlax seemed like a pretty cool idea. Did it have Fake Out? I'm just paying attention to the fact that I had Dragon Dance now. Dragon Dance, Wish, Dragon Hammer. I mean, that part makes sense. It seems like this mod loves to give Dragon Hammer to anything that is slightly related to dragons and has hands. Even though, like, in my opinion, the whole purpose behind Dragon Hammer was because it's a dragon and it wields itself like a hammer, like a Alolan Executor. Like, Alolan Executor's whole body turns into a hammer, and that's why Dragon Hammer is a thing that's normally exclusive to it. But I mean, it did give my boy Flygon a viable move, so I guess I can't complain too much about it now, shall we? Speaking of Dragon, I'll laugh my butt off if they find a way to work Dragon Hammer into this guy's moveset, but no, it seems like it's gonna go for Dual Chop. Dual Chop's always like a weird move. Like, I see it on quite a few dragon types, but it doesn't really seem like that great of a dragon move. I guess there's some merit to it with it being a physical dragon move that doesn't have a major setback, but I've always considered things like Outrage being a pretty free option. So, I don't know. Tarous. This will be interesting. Maybe I shouldn't have waited to purify for so long that I don't remember what moves they initially had before the purification, but alas, here we are. Waterfall. I mean, having a physical water move on Tauros is interesting, but it feels like it's a stretch of its move pool. I know Pokemon XD had some unique moves on the Pokemon, but in that game, like, they weren't moves that the Pokemon could normally learn, but they did at least make sense. I feel like assuming that Tauros can climb you up a waterfall is a bit of a stretch. Alright, what do we got with Slacking? I just feel bad that I've never had an opportunity to use any of these Shadow Pokemon proper, but all that running around that we did for catching the legendary Pokemon... Wait, first impression. I'm gonna have to look up what that one is later on. Is that the bug? Is that the bug Fake Out, or am I thinking of something else? No, for camera up. Lava Plume, a classic. Rock Polish, okay. I see you cooking there. I wish I remember what the non-shadow moves were so I could really get a grasp on how this all lines up, but we got more Shadow Pokemon to purify. Speaking of which, normal Executor. Surprised it didn't sneak in Alolan form anywhere in this mod, but I guess that would be hard to pull because, like, Alolan Marowak and Alolan Ninetales were just color swaps. I don't think there's a way you could, like, color swap Executor to make it an Alolan form. When the whole thing that's iconic about Alolan Executor is long and tall, boy. Flamethrower and the grass type could lead to some interesting things. And of course, normal Executor gets the wood hammer. That's not even a dragon hammer, that's just a wood hammer. Not sure what they were cooking with this one though. Oh, we're gonna purify our first legendary Pokemon. Well, that's not true, but it feels like the first of the legendary birds, I think is what I meant to say. Because I'm pretty sure that the other legendary birds are still sitting on our PC waiting to be purified. Point being, I'm kind of eager to see what comes out of this. Sacred? I feel like that takes away from Ho-Ho, but sure. It makes sense. Fire legendary. Give it the most powerful fire move. Lava Pume. I mean, it does come out of volcanoes in some more sunny day. Let me get another batch of Pokemon to purify. Alright. Got another set of Shadow Pokemon to purify, and funny enough, it's just enough to clear out a whole set of boxes? A box? Something? Not quite sure what the verbiage that would be most appropriate for that would be. Power Gem. Interesting for a physical rock type. Curse. High horsepower. Pursuit. Huh. Like, I'm personally not a huge Pursuit fan, but I definitely see the viability, especially in a game that built to be more competitive, I guess, would be the word I'm looking for. Like, I know the power of Pursuit, it's just that I'm usually a casual single player, so I don't really get too many opportunities to make good use out of it. But I definitely can see it pulling its weight in this mod. Hydro Pump. Nasty Plot. And I guess I'll have to look up what other moves it has later on. It's time! The free our boy Flygon. I confess I've been holding on to our little fella as a Shadow Pokemon way longer than deserved. But I was really hoping that I could get some mileage out of it as a Shadow Pokemon. Didn't really work out that way. I'm happy that we were able to spend any time together as is. Bulldoze, Dragon Dance. Man, if I didn't already have solid ground type on the team, you definitely would definitely squeeze right in. And we get Outrage. I don't know, we already got Dragon Hammer, and I just find it funny that it has Dragon Hammer, and it is technically safer than Outrage, and not that much weaker. I was just talking my butt off about how I never think about trying to give moves like Dual Chop to Dragon-type Pokemon because Outrage is right there, and I pass up on Outrage when given the opportunity to have it. Welp. At least we get to see some interesting stuff go with this Lantern, hopefully. Zap Cannon. I don't know why, I was kind of thinking that Electro Ball would be a thing. I guess because I was playing Pokemon Number Rogue not too long ago, and was trying to do a Hoenn run. Came across a Lantern, and I even chained to get it to be a shiny Lantern. But I was getting a nice mileage out of the combination of Thunder Wave and Electro Ball. And where it was Confused Ray, and then just whatever Water Stab that I could find. Unfortunately, I didn't really get far enough into that run to really get use out of it before it got knocked out, and before my whole run got obliterated. Oh, okay. I'll let the fact slide that technically it doesn't have a shell to let you cook, because I see where this move pool is. I see where this is going, and I'm a fan of it. Like, question the logic of this mod sometimes, but if you look at it from a purely objective point and don't try to think too hard about it, you can't complain about these move pools. Like, they really benefit the Pokemon well. There's been rarely any times, if any, that I've yawned at a move pool that I got from a Shadow Pokemon when Purified. Explosion, Trick Room, Icy Wind, give a Seismic Toss because, like, it's not really gonna. It's so defensive, it's not really gonna do too much on offense. Yeah, I think what's going up with this thing. I completely forgot that I put the legendary Pokemon at the end just so we have the best for last. Let's see what they do with Let's see what they could do with Articuno. I was personally a fan of Moltres. Only complaint I had was lore implications. So Icy Wind. I see this mod really favors Icy Wind over actual offensive powerhouses. Skill swap. Feels weird on Articuno, but Heal and Drill Peck. Okay, not as cool as the Moltres one, unfortunately. At least we can see what happens with Zapdos. Cool, it wasn't the last legendary I put in this slot. Volt Switch, already off to a great start. Zap Cannon. Rain Dance. And Drill Peck. I don't know, it felt like a little disappointing to go with Rain Dance and didn't have nothing to give demonstrate with it, but I guess Thunder is just a TM that I can teach to it whenever I want, so it's not that big of a deal. Interesting set. And last, but unfortunately, probably least, of the legendaries at least, we got Regice. And I don't know, I was surprised with Regice, sort of. Let's see what they pull out with Regice. Circle Furrow. I forget. Is that the one that always crits or the one that swaps? I think it's the one that always crits. Explosion. Feel like that's a must on the Regis for some reason. Metal Claw. Not bad. Not crazy. But at least it's stab. And Iron Defense. More accurate. And kind of good for the Pokemon. I'm not sure if it's even necessary with how defensive it already is, but I can see the logic in making it even more defensive. Alright, so that's everything but Lugia, but considering some of the stuff I've fought to just get up to this point, don't know when this is going to be uploaded, so I don't want to spoil too much of my post-game adventures. I think I'm going to hold on to Shadow Lugia for a bit longer. Not only is it kind of climatic to save it for the end, with it being the quote-unquote unpurifiable purified Pokemon, I might need it. I might need this move pool in particular for some of the stuff up ahead. So, I don't know if this is an exciting video, but it seems long enough to be a video. So this has been Jackie K. Thank you all for tuning in for this edition of Pokemon XG Next Gen. Thank you all for your patience. I know some of you have been waiting for this series for a long time, and I've been kind of holding off to try and make sure I have as much record as possible before I start uploading, with the hopes that I can actually consistently upload and not take a break in the middle of sharing my post-game adventures with you all. Time will tell how that pans out. Until the next time we meet, though, take care.